Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in to the PWTorch Fireside Chat Smackdown preview show. I'm PWTorch assistant editor Zach Cadorn with my flagship Fireside Chat partner Tyler Sage. Tyler, it's we're back to back here on the live streams, but shit, I'd have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way.
There you go. You can tell it's Friday. I had my glasses on, was not ready for the camera, so you're welcome for that on the replay. Yeah, it's good to be here.
How long does it take you to get that hair perfect?
I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch. I mean, I don't know if you ever watch Great British Baking show on Netflix.
You know what? It always is on my little recommendations tab, but no, never.
So the guy that won last year, I'm just going to bulldoze through this conversation, even though you haven't seen it. So, as any pro would, just disregard anything said previously. But the guy that won, his name was Giuseppe. He was an Italian guy. We have similar hairs. I have a similar origin as Giuseppe, and he's got this like hair thing that I have. So that's like what gets it straight back here, and then like looks like a puffy mess in the back. So you wash it, you get it out of your face, and you go on with the day. Is how I go. So
hey, well, why not? Why not? Right. Yeah. All right, man. Well, we're here to preview SmackDown. We're just started doing these live video previews last week, and so they've been fun. Decent, good little response from you guys, our audience. So keep coming back for these. We'll try to hit them before Raw, NXT, Dynamite, and SmackDown in some form or fashion. It may be me, it may be Tyler, it might be just other people from the Torch team. But needless to say, we're here today to preview SmackDown. And man, Tyler, the White Rabbit, we talked in our mini production meeting that I was pretty certain that it was Bray Wyatt. You were like, yeah, maybe, but maybe not. I mean, who could it be besides Bray Wyatt at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I joked with you it could be Orange Cassidy just because his theme song is a Jefferson Starship song. White Rabbit is a Jefferson Airplane song. When they were better, in my opinion, I think Bray Wyatt would agree. And so anything, it's a 99% Bray Wyatt situation with a 1% somebody else. I don't know who it would be, but if it's not Bray, then you go into the timeline of it being a disappointment, as Hazan has already pointed out here, that it could be a new Karrion Kross character, which I think would be detrimental to him, to this event tonight, because people are probably, I would guess, excited to see Bray once more. Wait till you see him wrestle, I would say. But
that's a nice cold burn.
Yeah. But if it's Kross, then it is what it is. I think that hurts his character and hurts the event. So hopefully for Kross's sake, it's Bray. But Kross is somebody that they are trying to do something with. Him and Drew seems like a pretty dovetailing feud to do here, especially with Roman being tied up with Logan Paul until San Antonio? Is that where the Rumble is this year?
San Antonio is the Rumble
in the Alamo Dome. So Roman's probably not going to defend that thing against a full time person on the roster until then. So yeah, gives him something to do until maybe he's the one that challenges at that point.
Yeah, I mean, look, it has to be Bray Wyatt at this point. I mean, like, I think that it's like, this is like CM Punk at the First Dance event for AEW Rampage, where it's like, yeah, they don't want to say that it is because they want it to be kind of a surprise, but they also kind of want you to know it is so that you tune in and watch. I think this would be a letdown, of epic proportion. This is coming from somebody who has regularly been critical of Bray Wyatt's stuff. Regardless of how you feel about this stuff week to week, he's a big time character on the show, and I think you're setting up a lot of people for disappointment if you don't deliver him on this show. I think it'd just be a huge letdown, a la just like it would have been if CM Punk doesn't walk out at the United Center. Maybe not quite on that level, but pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, and location has nothing to do with this. I mean, I know that's not the point you were making, but I looked it up because I wasn't sure where it was. They're in Salt Lake City tonight, per the internet. So, I'd say no ties there for Bray Wyatt and iconic moments in Salt Lake City. So, the only other joke answer I could come up with during that time was it could be Anna Jay, as her ring attire pre being Anna JAS was a magician's assistant,
Yes,
which
yes.
always, like, every time I watch a live show with anyone, and I'm like, yeah, she's like got a magician's assistant look to her, and they're like, oh, okay. And then they agree, but then it's like, why? It doesn't make any
Right.
sense. Like, I
They're
don't,
like, yeah.
it's Anna J. I don't have to tell you.
They're like, yeah, she does look like that, but what reason does?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the
So it's
logic ends right there.
Pull a white rabbit out of the hat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
So I want to go to Kazan's point here because it's a good one. Cross does have a history with like the White Rabbit theme. What would you say if you, let's say you don't watch SmackDown, and you may not because you're a full on Rampage report tonight, and should be a good Rampage, by the way. But anyway, if you woke up on Saturday morning and Cross and Bray Wyatt were in like a faction together, or like a budding faction together to tie the White Rabbit between the both of them, are you giving that a thumbs up, or are you giving that a thumbs down?
I probably initially would give it a thumbs up because I think it makes both people more interesting. I think they both could use. I mean, like, Cross is obviously a better in-ring performer than Bray is at this point, which is, I think, saying a lot about Bray.
Either that or not a lot about Cross.
Yeah. I mean, so however you want to take that, I'll lean toward the compliment side toward Cross on that aspect. But his spooky stuff could use a little bit more meaning, and I'm not to say that Bray Wyatt has meaning behind all of that he does, but his spookiness feels like his entire character, as opposed to Cross, where it feels like an entrance and then it kind of dissipates and it's this whole thing. So as a unit, they could work. Obviously, Theory would be involved too, potentially, with the QR code when he was doing this little workout vignette on Monday. So we'll see where that goes. I guess the only problem I might have with that, and that's if you're a super fan of any of the three, which I am not. I don't think you are either. It, to me, would signal a higher end of the firm level of a group within WWE that Paul Levesque is not as high on. I think he's probably more high on Bray to bring him back, right? It's not like there's this huge clamoring to bring him back, but he's potentially here. So who's the alpha of that group? If that's the case, does that level down Cross? Does it level down Theory if they're in a group with Bray? I would say probably. But who's the any group, you got to have the alpha. Only one person can be world champion. That's why Danielson and John Moxley were not running around in the same group for a long time here, leading up to this title match we saw on Wednesday. So
it's well said. I mean, I agree. I think generally, if you put those two together, they're probably more intriguing than they are alone, or at least for sure carrying Cross. But I like the notion of that. We'll have to see how it's done, though, because I think, look, the positive end is it elevates everybody up, but the negative is, you are associated with Bray Wyatt, and there's just some not baggage in a bad way necessarily, but he's always the guy who's in control. Like we've heard for backstage reports that, he very much is a hands-on guy. And so, if you're carrying Cross and you're not like that, or you're whoever else is in the faction and you're not like that, you're just kind of get steamrolled by the guy and all his creativity. On that note, I want to say, just get it out and get in the open. Bray Wyatt is such a unique performer, and I say that with all the respect in the world, because he brings a character, regardless of whether you like the character or not. He brings that to the table, and what I think has plagued him throughout all the iterations of the Bray Wyatt character, whether it's the Fiend or whether it's like the Swamp Cult Leader guy or whatever that guy was in the middle with the smoke coming out of the little canister thing, he never had booking in the ring that made good on the character he was trying to play. And I think that always hurt him. And it's not just, because he can't go in the ring, but if you can wrestle matches, and if you're booked in a way that makes sense, you can make you don't have to be a 5-star guy in the ring to have matches that make sense and that work for your character. And I just don't think he's ever been set up for that. I mean, promo after promo he'd cut, he'd lose match after match. And then he'd try to go back to the same type of thing. And you can only go back to that so many times before it gets, there's holes poked in it. I'd love to see him on this run be taken care of better in that regard. And again, I don't mean expect 5-star matches, but expect matches and outcomes that make sense for him and that can paint him in the best picture possible so that he can deliver in the biggest way.
Yeah.
That's my soapbox. I'll get off now.
Could not agree more. Because I mean, like I've said on here many times, I'll say it again here. The match against John Cena, or if you want to call it a match, whatever, at WrestleMania 36.
So good.
So good. I mean, it's one of my favorite things ever in wrestling. I will just occasionally put that on. Now it's a little harder than it was on the network, but we'll watch that whole thing start to finish, and it's awesome. It's the perfect amalgamation of what that Bray Wyatt character is and can do, and so here's hoping that something like that can happen. And the way we've seen Roman Reigns booked the last 2 years, right? He has a match of consequence every 2 months at maximum, right? I mean, he'll occasionally defend on SmackDown, whatever, but you can have Bray work, especially if he's like a leader of a group of people, like he was in the past. You could have him wrestle occasionally, book him to win more often than not, and make this character whatever it's going to be. And I think you would agree, but let me know if you don't, that we're going to not get just the Fiend. It's not going to be like we didn't skip a beat and the Fiend is right back to where he was, or it's not going to be Bray Wyatt, the Swamp Leader. It's going to be some different version, obviously, of something that he's been cooking up and whatnot. And who knows, maybe he'll come out and have washboard abs and everyone will be super impressed with him. He looks like Trent Beretta when he came back, and then, start losing as soon as he came back. But yeah, I think whatever it is, if you're going to bring him back, you have to be convinced that there's a story there, a character that you can build around. When you have SmackDowns like the one tonight, where you have 2 matches announced, and Roman is talking is the highlight of the show. So having Bray be someone that can hold content week after week after week through vignettes and through in-ring stuff and have people wrestle on behalf of him, I think would work tremendously. And minus the the screw job finishes we've seen lately in WWE, I have more faith in Paul Levesque to allow Bray Wyatt to be the best character he can be at this point.
Well said. Couldn't put it better myself. Good stuff. And I don't know where he goes, like as far as where that good booking takes him. Is it to something with Roman down the road? Is it Drew McIntyre? Is it maybe like a Cody Rhodes someday, as if Cody Rhodes is champion? I don't know, but look at Roman Reigns getting beat now is a major deal. Like, it's going to be a big deal when it happens. And I think you can get somewhere similar to that with Bray Wyatt if you play your cards right and have that. But I'm excited to see what he comes up with. I mean, if nothing else, the dude's creative. There's some shirts that were released today on WWEshop.com that kind of hint at, well, not hint, but they feature the White Rabbit and some, some verbiage that pretty much tells you Bray Wyatt without actually saying it out loud. So
yeah, let me pop it up here while you're talking about. Oh yeah, the feed your head with like the carpet that like freaks people out. You've seen people walk on this carpet. Yeah. For those that aren't, I mean, I don't think I can share my screen, but so interesting. Free your head.
They're there. So I mean,
maybe it's Aaron Rodgers doing a surprise appearance. I don't know if they're playing, so.
Aaron Rodgers and I are not on good terms right now.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can joke about him yet.
Yeah. I would say Bray definitely has a pass in psychedelics. So so hopefully that can come through even more. Just interesting that's not the vibe that you would think when you think of hallucinogens, but Bray is there for sure.
No, it's not.
The Fiend is not. That's not the trip you want to take, I would say.
No. That's a trip gone bad for sure.
Yeah.
Let's jump to Derek's comment here. Derek, appreciate you joining us. The failure of a talent is always caused by a combination of the creative direction and the performance of the talent. In most cases, fans blame the creative. in Bray's case, he never delivered. I mean, you can't argue with that from an in-ring. I'd say that I'd push back at Derek and say that I think he has delivered from a character perspective, but he's never been able to carry it in the ring from a creative booking perspective, but also from just his own in-ring acumen. Like, it always felt flat to me. And Tyler, I don't know if you disagree, but yeah, I mean, he absolutely, hopefully, can show some growth there.
Yeah, I don't want to pass full judgment here because I think we'll see with this run what the creative process is with the free reign more so. But the outside the ring, the character always felt like, Bray was an author who has a great idea and can get maybe 2/3, 3/4 of the way through, and then just can't figure out a good ending.
Yep.
I think kind of like what George R.R. Martin is dealing with, right? He's got 2 more books left in Game of Thrones, and they finished that series.
2 more books. I'll hold my breath on that.
Well, yeah, it's like 70, but and not a healthy looking individual. But the show ended, and you can see why. Like, that's kind of the Bray Wyatt character to me. Like, great premise, interesting start, and then it just kind of petered out, especially near the end with the WrestleMania match and all that stuff. One thing I would do for sure, I think one thing, if I'm Bray, I have to beat Randy Orton at WrestleMania this year because he's lost to him twice in 2 big moments at WrestleMania, and him defeating Randy, I don't know what his character is going to be, but that almost has to be just integral to be convincing as a character that can beat people, because Randy's kind of his guy he cannot take out at WrestleMania, as it is for most people, Seth Rollins included. So
it's true. I mean, I don't know. I think, it's 50-50 at best with him on delivery, and we'll see. Amos, thanks for checking in. Appreciate you being here. In regards to Wyatt, Amos says it may likely incorporate a bit of his past character, so it isn't completely unfamiliar. I'm lukewarm on that idea, to be honest. And I like consistent. Like, you're talking to like the consistency guy in pro wrestling, like have some sort of link. However, and Tyler talked me off this ledge, but in this case, I think there's so much baggage with that Fiend stuff. Because it fizzled, and there's so much baggage with like the Swamp Leader stuff. I think I want to see a fresh Bray Wyatt, like a fresh act. And people know, but I don't think you want to root the character in like nuggets of the past or callbacks. Like, to me, I'm thinking just go forward. I think that's the way here.
I think so too. If I were to choose, it'd be do a brand new character. He's had a lot of time to obviously think about it. Bray seems like a guy with a lot of ideas in all aspects. And I think that's the best chance, is that I think the if it is going to be something of the past, it would probably be some sort of Mick Foley character, but modernized with this current and twisted mind of Bray Wyatt, where it'd be some and I don't think this would be good, so I hope this is not the way to go, but it could be Bray doing some sort of person with multiple personality disorder, something like that. But he would try and make it a little more realistic, but then that's like fraught because people have that real condition, and you don't want to like make light of that either within WWE. So hopefully that's not the way they're going. But I brought up the trips and stuff like that. Is what if he was like some sort of like I'm not saying like the QAnon shaman guy. I think we all know who I'm talking about when I say that. The guy that was like in the Capitol with the bull's horns and stuff like that. But some sort of like
in prison, right?
I think so. I think he got like a year and a half or 2 years or something. But
that's good.
What if he's like, this is just me spitballing. I don't know if we're at that sort of speculation theorizing corner yet, but what if he's some sort of like modern age shaman who like leads people down, like a cult leader, but he's like a mystic, a shaman, a wise man, but he like leads people down the wrong path because he's just a fraud, and he's trying to tell people to free their mind, like a Jonestown type thing. He's done the cult leader thing, but do it like a little bit more serious. And I'd be down with a character like that feels a little more grounded, but is even more dangerous as a result.
Yeah, I would be too. Like I said, I'm interested to see what he comes up with. Be it's a reason to watch SmackDown tonight for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we spent a good chunk of our preview time here talking about Bray Wyatt. Number one, because I think that's probably the biggest story, excuse me, coming out of tonight's show and going into tonight's show. Because there's not that much else that's there. Roman Reigns is going to be back. They're heavily promoting him for tonight's show. This is the bad part of the Logan Paul kind of match that he's having, is because what can Reigns say like that's supremely intriguing that you have to watch this for? I mean, I think you and I could probably write the promo right now, as could multiple people who are watching this live. I think we know how this is going to go. It's always good to see a star like Roman on the show, but I'm just not expecting anything of consequence to come out of this tonight, even though, Roman Reigns' appearances on SmackDown these days are few and far between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the MJF thing in AEW. To a certain extent, you got to write the correct promo, because, like, I think fans are genuinely more behind Roman in this situation, based on being, the guy that is around, well, maybe as much as Logan at this point, but he's the WWE guy more so than Logan Paul is. So, whatever promo it is, if it's making fun of him, if it's making fun of him for Pokemon cards, for getting knocked out in a boxing match, whatever, I don't know. It just seems, it's there. And as Zahn mentioned there, I think I'm definitely more intrigued by how they tie. I think Roman's promo tonight will tie into the Usos defending the bloodline and having a title defense tonight. And that'll be the story, because that'll be the main event almost assuredly. So, is Logan Paul like 100% booked to be there? I haven't seen that anywhere. So that's even kind of more tepid if Logan Paul is not there. If we're doing like a little, tit for tat on that, I think is less than ideal.
So I'm looking here. I don't get the sense that he is promoted for tonight's show. So I don't think we're going to see a face to face with Logan and Roman on TV. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of there. I think you're right. I think he'll hit the notes on Logan Paul. He'll hit the notes on the bloodline, and then I think that's it. I think it'll be short and sweet. I think to me, this is more of like we're going to do this White Rabbit reveal thing. We may as well try to go all in and promote the biggest star being on the show too. So, the other thing that we have tonight is Braun Strowman against Otis. So, okay, that's there. And,
I'd say just look at the promo picture of all of them together. It's just like, man, there's there's just like 1,000 words in a picture, and I think I would have 1,001 about that picture of all three of those guys. Chad Gable is the third guy. So.
Oh, amazing. So that's happening, and that's probably all the real preview and analysis that we can give it, or that it deserves. Mm-hmm. And then you got a tag team title match tonight too. The Usos defending against the Brawling Brutes. Look, I don't think the Usos are going to lose this match, but I do think that the Usos tag title defenses have become like appointment viewing stuff, regardless of who the opponents are. So for that reason, I think this is going to be exciting, even though kind of the outcome here. But, it's an Usos tag title defense, and they've really stepped that up. So I give that a thumbs up and a worthwhile reason to watch the show tonight too.
I agree. And I agree with Hazan as well. That I think, I mean, I don't know if it's his coming out party. I mean, I guess it depends on the type of fan we're talking about. And if you're talking about a SmackDown fan, could be, because he's going to hold, I would say he'll be in the ring 70% of the time for his team tonight. Yep. And, him and the Usos should have some good chemistry. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, does that set up then some sort of SmackDown title defense against Sheamus? Has that happened? Right? It has.
Could be.
Yeah. With him and Roman recently?
Not recently. Okay. Not recently.
Yeah, maybe you can do something there, because I mean, obviously Roman or Sammy, maybe Sammy and Sheamus more likely at Extreme Rules, but Sammy's going to get involved, and that is telling a story there. Just like it's a title defense, I would say the one thing I have tonight that has to happen is there's got to be a finish. Sami Zayn coming in, screwing them. Feels like it makes more sense than other finishes here. have been, but as always, I prefer the Usos just to win straight up, and then you could do whatever angle you want to do after the fact. I think AEW proves that works pretty effective.
Yeah, I think so too. And I also, there's a lot of ways it could go. I mean, Solo Sikoa is around too, so you might see him getting involved. But I don't think Ridge Holland because it's Ridge Holland and Butch tonight, right? It's not Sheamus. So I don't know that you lose too much if you're Ridge Holland and Butch by doing the job clean to the Usos, and then with some angle afterwards. Like, because I don't know, there's not how many weeks until Extreme Rules? Like 2 weeks?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's like October.
Or 2 more Smackdowns?
15th or something.
Oh, is it that late? I thought it was earlier. I thought it was like
let me see.
Okay. I think it's the 8th. I think it's October 8th.
October 8th, you're correct. So yeah, 2 more, this SmackDown and 1 more.
Yeah, so 2 more SmackDowns. So it's not, I don't know that you could heat up like another tag team to face the Usos. So,
yeah,
I'm wondering if they're going to do some kind of like 6-man at that show, the Usos and Zayn, or Usos and Sikoa against, Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes. Like, maybe this is an avenue to get to that. I don't know, but I don't see them. I don't see another tag team who can get on that card opposite the Usos in a way that makes sense here.
Yeah, which is super reverse logic on what I think.
Yeah,
is that you should have the 6-man match tonight to lead to the title match at the pay-per-view, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, I don't disagree with that's probably the strategy here, and we will see. The one thing unless you had anything else on it, the one thing I love formatting questions. I love how shows are structured. It tells you a lot about what's going on. So, is the White Rabbit reveal at the very beginning of the show, the very end of the show, the hour changeover, or someplace else?
I put it at the hour changeover. I'm kicking off the show with Roman because it's a big, he's a big star, and you kick off with that, and you go into the rest of the show. I think you hit the middle with however you're going to do the White Rabbit reveal. Mm-hmm. That's how I think you do it, and then you wrap with the tag title match in the main event. That's how I'm booking it. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'd probably do the same thing. Depends on if I know how good or bad the finish of the tag title match is going to be, I might have the White Rabbit bit to salvage the show from a talking standpoint.
Yeah, this is interesting. 923 on 923. Robert and Amos chiming in on that. That'd be cool. That would be cool. I guess I could get down with that. I think it'd be hard to open with this though, because it has to be in some kind of. You can't just open up with a White Rabbit walking on. I don't know, like what I'm saying, like on the screen or whatever. It'd be hard. Mm-hmm. So I think you got to do the reveal later in the show. So 923. That's what. That's the second hour, right? Eastern time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
But they're on Mountain Time. They're on Mountain Time, so they're not even live at 9:23 local time. So, so interesting. Yes. One last question I have for you on this is: do we think, if it is Bray, obviously, is WWE paying the estate of Jefferson Airplane for this song? And is this the first licensed song, if that is the case, since the Cult of Personality for Punk?
If they go ahead and license it. Yes, I think it is. Nothing else comes to mind, and they don't pay for licensing fees very often. They should. I think they should. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're gonna go, like go do it the right way. And Rhonda, yep, good call, Hazan, yep.
Mm-hmm. I think Robert too makes a point here too with the teaser. The 9.23 turns to 9:23. So that.
Oh, no kidding! I did not notice that. Notice that.
I assume, and Robert, if you're still watching, please message. But that's when you scan the QR code, and then it was like the little vignette, but the White Rabbit coming, right? I think that's what he's referring to. So let me know if I'm mistaken there. But very interesting. So.
That's some good detective work, Robert. For sure.
I'd love to see the that tells me it's Bray. for sure with that sort of level of that. And that's like all the stuff is good. And then if something happens where it feels like, all right, that was kind of weird. That's like the full Bray experience of like a really
Yes, I
cool
know.
idea. Like Bray, if I want him to design like an escape room, and then you get to like the last puzzle, you're like, what? You just put you put the square,
The
you
key's
put the
been there
square,
the whole
yeah,
time.
yeah, the keys just right there. It's like, oh, those are actually the keys the whole time. You didn't need to do any of this. So,
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right.
so I hope that's the case, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, we'll see. But I mean, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, just go all out with him this time. Like, it's hard to like pull off a gimmick like that and a character like that when you half-ass it. And with Bray, it always seems like you start out great, as you guys all said. You said it. They said it. Like, it kind of just falls off. And so for this, I'm like, license that song, and do the whole thing, and then see what you have. But go all in with it. It's just one of those gimmicks where it's like it'd be like the Undertaker half-assing his deal. It doesn't work the same. You got to be like all in on that all the way.
Or Kane without the voice modulator when he started. I think if he didn't have that, that's like something you don't see a lot as you go on and go through the archives, see archival footage presented by WWE. But that is like enduring core memory of mine is that guy coming out and going like, I am.
Yes.
It's like, oh God, that's frightening. So.
It is, and like, imagine if Kane was doing that, pulling that stuff, and then like losing all of his matches all the time. Same thing with the Undertaker. Like, you can't stand alone on that. They have to be connected for it to work. Let's see, Robert, you've been on fire here, so let's jump to you, and then we'll call it a day here, guys. I personally think that another teaser shows up tonight and pushes the return to Extreme Rules. I just don't think a 3-day build is enough. Like a scavenger hunt with a payoff progressively getting harder. So the build's been more than 3 days to this. They've been teasing this for how long? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like longer than that even, but
and maybe even longer than that. Yeah.
But like I would say, like on the nose, 2 weeks. I mean, even I think it was Ryan Satin, who's the WWE propagandist, I guess is the nicest way to say it on his show.
Yeah.
But good for him. But he was pointing out like at live shows they were playing White Rabbit randomly, even before, even longer than 2 weeks ago. So that's kind of the first place I heard about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think that they've been in it longer than that. Where I think that they've set it up where they've got to pay it off tonight. He doesn't have to have his first match tonight or anything like that. But I think you have to like see whatever this is in its full form.
Yeah, some sort
That's
of.
what I think they promised.
Even if he doesn't talk, maybe some sort of reveal if he's going to wear a mask or something. Like the back silhouette, and then the camera pans around and you see whatever this character is. And, you'd think you'd get some sort of let me in, not that exact phrase, but you get something to like, if sort of thing. And then it'll be fully revealed, like the multi-step reveal of like very hidden. You have to really know what you're doing to where we are now to that's definitely Bray. They just didn't say it to then saying the former Bray Wyatt, next Friday. But
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that would be, I always think those things are fun to watch and to navigate. But I think there'd be a lot of people upset if it's not fully baked out there because they've been pumping it up a lot. And so to have it be like, oh, we still have to guess. We still got to talk about it. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see. Dude, anything else on SmackDown tonight? I mean, like I said, we don't have like a countless amount of segments to digest and break down because of the lack of what's being hyped right now. But I think we just about covered it. But what else is your notes?
I think that's it. I think it's good. Need to build a lot of stuff in the in-between, I think, to Extreme Rules. I mean, as WWE has shown as of late, I think it'll be a 5 or 6 match card, which is good for me. So it's not like you have to make, 8 matches happen from now till then, but you think we'd get some solidification besides the tag match. There'd probably be one more thing to iron out to confirm a match at Extreme Rules. But yeah, it's always kind of amazing how SmackDown in the last couple of months has been, 2-3 matches tops, and they fill the time, and it doesn't feel like a horrible use of time, but then you kind of finish and you're like, I guess that was 2 hours, huh? It just doesn't feel like it's like the opposite of Dynamite in good ways and bad ways, right? Because Dynamite, you can't even catch your breath, and then on SmackDown, there's lots of time to breathe and have things work, and things work well in both environments. Just interesting to see the two dichotomies of how to present a wrestling show.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, and we'll see what the ratings do. And I think between Roman Reigns and this White Rabbit 923 thing, I mean, they got something intriguing. I think people want to see. So I'd expect a good. I don't think they're up against any huge competition tonight. So
I don't think so.
All things will probably look pretty good for them. Everybody, thank you guys very much. Derek, Robert, Hazan, Amos, Shanahan. Appreciate you guys being with us here. We're gonna keep doing these preview shows live. So mark it down in the calendars, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We very much appreciate that. And Tyler, until next time, man, we'll catch you down the road.
Sounds good. I will see you and see you guys later.
Bye, guys.